The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated to our favorite shows!
Oh, my circuit!
Everybody loves Hypno Toad.
Scary dog!
Pearson and Blurnsville.
Futurama!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I am your host, Alexis Hejna, and tonight we are diving into the world of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Joining me, I want to welcome back one of my favorite contributors, Mr. Andrew Orozco from Geek News Now. Hello, how are you?
I'm a little under the weather, but I'm happy to be here, Alexis. So thanks again for having me on.
We were supposed to do this last week. We had to reschedule, which ended up working best because I was a little under the weather that weekend, but you were covering the video game awards. So you were a little distracted. So I'm glad, things are a little bit easier tonight. How did the coverage go, by the way?
Pretty well. I wrote up like 3 different articles like that night and following the night after. So pretty good. I mean, the main discourse right now is how they just didn't spend enough time on the actual awards portion of the show. I don't know if you know much about the show, but like there's mostly announcements and it's just like a little online, the arguments that only exist online, not for the people, outside touching grass. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Lots of games I'm looking forward to over the next few years. So.
Yeah, I saw that trailer for the new Blade game. That looks
so dope.
Yes.
Very
Now, it'd
exciting.
be great if we could actually get the Blade movie into freaking production after all this time, but I think we could settle for a game.
Didn't Mahershala Ali drop out of that or no?
No,
No,
he hasn't dropped out.
Okay.
Last I heard, they're rewriting the script again.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. And now joining us for the first time, living proof that nepotism is alive and well in this world. Just kidding. But seriously, joining us for the first time, the son of our founder and boss, Mark Radulich, Mr. Jonas Radulich. Hello.
Hello, it's me, a child.
All right, Jonas, how old are you?
9.
You're 9. Okay, you are. Does this mean we have to like tone down our language?
No,
around?
not at all. No.
Okay, because frankly, if I get a call later after we're done recording from your dad chewing me out because I've ruined your virgin ears or something, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Oh no, it's completely fine. I don't know what you're going to say that could be any worse than what's said in this house. Right? I don't think you can hear me. Father. Jonas the father.
That would be correct.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so yes, we were talking Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. What did he say?
What was that? Repeat that, please. Father? I think he died. Anyways.
Oh god.
Oh, okay. Apparently, I don't have a boss anymore. But yes, so we're talking Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This is an anime streaming television series developed by Bryan Lee O'Malley, who, of course, wrote the original graphic novels. The full color hardback volumes were released August 2012 to April 2014. They were a huge hit, which led to the 2010 film adaptation Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, directed by Edgar Wright. It was a big hit. A lot of fans absolutely loved it because it was a real interesting blending of genres in how they were able to capture the geeky world that our characters lived in. It was essentially like walking in both a real life anime and a real life video game. A lot of fun with the visual effects in that. So, of course, now we've got Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This premiered on Netflix on, can I get a release date here, Wikipedia? November 17th.
Wow.
I watching on YouTube. Always
He's
watching.
watching.
I
Okay,
watch.
so which one of us is Mike Wazowski? Like, who is he watching?
I'm watching you, Mike Wazowski.
Always watch. See, my brain's going to the Netflix series The Watcher, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so first things first, Jones, I just want to ask you real quick. Like I said, you've appeared in we're going to call cameos in past episodes of our show. I should probably remove the comment. it's like what are you doing, Alexis, forgetting to press the damn buttons? But when this got put on the schedule, you said you wanted to guest on it, not cameo. You didn't want to jump in behind your dad and make comments. You wanted to be on the show. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what about this show made you want to come on and officially, work with us tonight?
Well, one, I just love the Scott Pilgrim IP. I think Scott Pilgrim's really interesting concept. I love the movie. I never played the game, but I did watch a playthrough. That was fun. It's just, and also I just love the show. It's a great show. It just, yeah.
All right, it was. And for the record, thanks for being so accommodating when we had to reschedule from last week. I greatly appreciate that.
It'll be fine. Oh wait, why am I? Dang it!
All right, so yes, this is it. This is done in the style of an anime. This was animated by, where is the
Science Saru.
Science Saru, yes. And they actually got, I would say, about 90% of the cast from Scott Pilgrim versus the World to come back and redo their voices. We have Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson, Allison Pill, Aubrey Plaza, Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman, Johnny Simmons, Mark Webber, Mae Whitman, Ellen Wong. I think the only ones they replaced, I could be wrong, but I think the only ones they replaced were the Katayanagi twins. I need to look up. Were that the...
Because they don't even have a speaking role in the live action film.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got single actor Julian, I cannot pronounce his last name. Sihi, I don't know. It's Cihi, who we have seen appear in Only Murders in the Building, The Tick, and High School Lover. So... yeah, completely different actor. But again, majority of them, I always love actually when people point out that majority of the actors from Scott Pilgrim either were playing superhero roles or who have gone on to play superhero roles. I mean, you actually look at the list of Scott's lovers. It's like, okay, so you're now dating Huntress / Hera from Star Wars Rebels. Your ex is Captain Marvel. And two of the exes you have to fight are Captain America and Superman / the Atom.
Yeah.
Now, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon will be no more. It will soon be 7 degrees to Marvel.
Probably less than 7 then.
Oh, undoubtedly. Like, yeah, everyone's doing Marvel movies. Or DC. Like I said, we have Brandon Routh, who, of course, played both Superman in Superman Returns and was playing the Atom / Ray Palmer in the Arrowverse. So first thing we're going to talk about is the interesting direction they decided to take with the script on this. Oh, yes, and Aubrey Plaza was on Legion. That's right.
The X-Men show? Or the X-Men spinoff? Oh,
yeah, okay. She was. Admittedly, I didn't get a chance to really watch a lot of that show just because it was a little intense. There's a lot of visual intensity with the style and everything, and it was a little hard to just kind of deal with. It took a while for things to get going on that show. But so one of the first things, when people heard this was getting announced, there was a lot of thought that this was going to end up being a direct adaptation of the comic book. Because the movie, while very faithful to the comic, obviously took a lot of differences. My favorite one always being that one of the ways that Scott defeated Todd Ingram was to basically get Envy to realize that Todd had cheated on her and to get her to attack him. You know, when in doubt, get the girlfriend all riled up, apparently. And it looks at first like it's going to be the very first episode, while not, I would say, identical to the graphic novel, takes a lot from it, and also takes, which we can also see taken a lot from the movie. The first graphic novel in the series, which basically leads up to Scott's battle with Matthew Patel and Ramona's revelation about him having to fight the League of Evil Exes, was very faithful in the movie. But then at the end of the first episode, we find out, no, they're going in a completely different direction because it looks like Matthew Patel is won and Scott's dead. So, Andrew, I'm going to ask you, sir, what was your initial... Did you know that they were going to throw us a curveball like this? Or what were you surprised that at this change? What were you thinking? What were you expecting?
I thought it was going to be, because I was like, okay, I checked first. I'm like, okay, it's 8 episodes long, because I was trying to figure out how long it would take. And I'm like, okay, eight episodes, 27 minutes, give or take each one, about 4 hours altogether, a little less than 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're going to give it the time the series needs to, because I think the live action movie is like less than 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, they're probably just going to do a straight up adaptation of the books, the graphic novels, and just kind of, trim the fat and kind of get through that. I was like, they're not going to do the live action movie again, because there's no point in doing that. And so, having played the game, having read the novels, having done the live action movie, I'm like, are they just? I was like, okay, that's cool. They're gonna just do the graphic novels again in just animated form. Like, that's okay. And when we get to the end of the first episode, and it's implied that he died, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, this is going to be way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Like, I was like, I don't know how other people were feeling, like whether they were upset or something, but I was like, this is interesting. This is kind of cool. Like, it's not just the same thing for the third or fourth time. Like, it's going to be something different. And like, I don't remember. I think, is it the first episode ends with it, or the second episode starts with like the exes kind of getting together again and trying to figure out what happened, right? Is the start of the second episode, I think, right?
Yeah, the start of the second episode, we have, the Matthew challenging Gideon for control of the leadership, and
which was super cool.
no.
Super cool. I love that. I absolutely love that.
What's up, Jonas?
Wait, did you say second or first episode?
Second episode.
Okay, sorry. I thought I heard second. Sorry.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Scott's funeral, which Envy Adams completely turns into a concert.
I like that.
So it's interesting because while this show is called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Scott is not really the main character in a way, because the show focuses more on Ramona. We have her realizing that Scott is still alive, and she is now going through the list of usual suspects, aka the rest of her exes, and all the other people who hate Scott. If you're familiar with the books and movie, Scott was not always a good guy.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was kind of an idiot and kind of a jerk sometimes.
He
had a lot of growing up to do.
That part with I think it's in the live action movie, but when he's going over the reasons why he's dumped all his past girlfriends, like Envy and Kim, and he's like, oh, like, well, this happened with her, and like, oh, and that happened with her, and then like all the different reasons. So it's like, even like the live action movie makes him like, clearly he's like a jerk. He's not like innocent at all.
Yeah, I mean, we feel sorry for him about the breakup with Envy because she ripped out his heart and stomped on it. But then, yeah, you realize his breakup with Knives, his breakup with Kim. And I think they established, I can't remember if it was confirmed in the books or if that was actually just hinted at through the subtext, but we know that he dated, what was her name? Julie, Aubrey Plaza's character, the one who swears constantly.
Did he? I don't remember that part.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was hinted at in the subtext, and that's why she's so like angry at him all the time. Just like, Scott, I refuse to let you date Ramona. It's like, because she got dumped by him, so she doesn't like him. She doesn't want Ramona dating him. Again, I can't remember if it was actually confirmed in the books or not, but I just
remember she was dating Steven. She dated. apparently she dated Steven, and then apparently, well, we see what ends up happening later on, where she finds another boo.
Yeah, Gordon Goose.
Which I can see why he doesn't go by that name anymore.
No.
G-Man, way better.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a last name that no one can pronounce or spell either, and even I was like, "Oh, smart move, dude." All right, Jonas, what did you think? Again, you said you're familiar. You saw the movie. What did you think about the change to this totally new adaptation, this totally new storyline? What did you think?
I think it was a very interesting take. Like, definitely not what I expected. Like, when Scott died and they were attending his funeral, like, first off, I was like, wait, they're having a funeral? I thought Scott Pilgrim was going to, like, come out of the coins or something and then murder Matthew Patel. Why is this happening? Why? How did they kill off the main character? That was going through my mind, that entire scene. And then I was like, oh, okay, so he is alive and time travel.
Yeah, vegan time travel, as it is.
Because as we all know, if you're vegan, you're Superman.
Pretty much, yeah. It makes you better than people.
I don't care if it makes you better than people. I'm not giving up my cheeseburgers. Now, I had a roommate actually after I graduated college briefly, who it always killed me because she could not make up her mind if she was vegetarian or vegan, because I would try to plan things out, like who was buying groceries and everything. It was just like, are you on a date where you can drink milk or not? Just drove me nuts.
That's fine. I showed the live action movie to one of my friends, and my friend, and he's like notorious for just being very like emotionless, very cold, just very like joyless. And throughout the entire movie, he like never budged or laughed until that line about like, he's like, didn't you know Todd's vegan? And then that's like the first time like he like laughed during the movie. So like, okay, we got a joke in there. Meat is murder, delicious
murder. Yes, Mark, it is very delicious.
I killed a lot of people in my day. I can tell you, they tasted good.
Did you say you killed a lot of people?
Yes.
In your day?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
It's like, I think we need a confirmation on what you just said, and I'd like to remind everyone of the disclaimer before our show. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Laughing.
Sorry, I was like, wait, there's another comment already? Okay. What did you guys... Okay, Jonas, what did you think about all the cast members from the movie returning? You know, hearing Chris Evans and Brandon Routh and Brie Larson and all of them doing their voices again. What did you think?
I'm going to say something right now. Unless it's like Ryan Reynolds, I do not care who's voicing the character as long as it like kind of fits. I rarely ever care about the cast.
Important advice from your father, Jonas.
To be honest, I'm the most indifferent person when it comes to casting. Like, if it's live action, I might care a little bit more, but it is an animated series, so I don't care.
Yeah, see, I'm always a little nervous because as an animation, as the Radulich and broadcasting guru, animation guru, as they call me, I do notice a trend with celebrities getting cast as voice actors for animation instead of this hand out of nowhere just suddenly shows up and pats you on the head. It's just like something that's like,
I think it was Jesus.
Don't give your father that much credit, please. I have to work with him. But there has been a lot of issues with actors getting to play or doing voice acting for animation when clearly it's not really their forte. And I'm just going to say it. I think all the actors here did pretty good with one exception, one actor on here. And I hate to say this about him because I've seen him in other movies. I think he's a really good actor, but it's abundantly clear I don't think he's cut out for voice acting. Johnny Simmons, who plays young Neil. I know he's playing the role very similar to how he played it in the movie.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a little under his breath. He seems like to be sort of in a world of his own because he's a gamer and he's just like, okay, what's going on? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Just like that. Hey, check out what we're going to be reviewing next week. That was
To
a
be
total
honest-
coincidence. That's just my phone case.
To be honest, I thought you just pulled out a Wonka bar, just like, yeah, sure, love playing my brand new Wonka bar.
Nope. Cell phone. But, and admittedly, like I said, I know he's trying and I know he's playing the role very similar to how he played it in the movie, but the inflections often seem to be off. He was very mumbly. It was a little hard sometimes to tell exactly what he was saying. Again, I think it was very under his breath a lot. And yeah, he was the only one who I just kind of watched going, yeah, you could have cast someone else for that.
Really? For
Yeah.
me, for me,
Oh,
Go-
sorry.
Go ahead, Andrew.
oh, honestly, for me, it was much more obvious with. I thought Kieran Culkin as Wallace, he felt kind of, I don't know, he felt very stiff, and like at least for the first half of the show, I felt like it was very kind of just like understated, just very like dry delivery.
Mhm.
And which is unfortunate because Wallace is one of my favorite characters in the live action and in the novels. So like
Mhm.
his delivery, I was like maybe I don't know, like because everyone else, I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona is like she still got it. She still got
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Michael Cera is still on his game. I feel like what's his name? Captain America. I can't remember his real name.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Thank you. I feel like he seemed to have way more fun with this than he probably did with the live action one. Like he was just really into it, but I just felt like Wallace just kind of very dry, at least for the first half. I think he kind of picked it up a little bit once we got to the later on, and like future Wallace like was a little bit more animated, pun intended. But like I just felt like for the first half I was like, oh man, like he's really not bringing his A game. He's kind of just, I feel like he's probably just reading the lines and just saying them as like as if he's reading the newspaper or something. But like everybody else, phenomenal. Wallace, Kieran Culkin kind of started off low, kind of ended high. So also, I didn't really, with young Neil. Like you said, I think that's kind of the point. So that didn't really bother me that much because even in the live action movie, he like everything's kind of just like when she's like, "What do you play?" and he's like, Zelda, Tetris. He's like, that's kind of like a big question. Like I get, he's very just nonchalant, very low energy. So that was normal to me. I'm like yeah, But yeah, Wallace was a big standout for me. Not in a good way. But.
Very true. Although I do like how well the dry humor with his reading worked in the episode where we have the little faux documentary making of the Scott Pilgrim movie with his interactions with Todd. But of course, that was supposed to be very clearly played as
Want to run lines in your trailer?
Yeah. Oh, so that's what the kids are calling it nowadays.
I like he's like the only one playing himself. Like he was the only one as himself because nobody else could quite capture his like essence.
And I just love him manipulate. In the end, you find out he's freaking moved to Paris with the money because he's like, "Hey, I finagled it in my contract. I'm still getting paid even though that movie never got released." It's just like, Wallace, you brilliant bastard! How did you do that? I just I love that about the character. You just look at the stuff he does, and it's like. Hell, they do that a lot in the movie and in the graphic novel, how seductive he is. I love the scene when he steals Stacy Pilgrim's boyfriend and she actually goes, "Wallace, again?" It's just like, how often has this happened? How is Wallace just able to bring so many men to the gay side? Come to the gay side. We have Wallace Wells.
Well, I would definitely go to the gay side if Wallace Wells was there.
For the record, congrats to Kieran Culkin for his Golden Globe nomination for Succession.
Oh, wow.
I think like every actor on that show got nominated. I was going through the list. It's like Succession. I mean, it's a huge ensemble cast. So, but yeah, like I said, the dry read did. I love just Todd's breakdown. It's like, there were sparks. How could you not deny the sparks? And he is literally just like, what sparks? He's just so nonplussed about it. And then that final line from him at the end. Holy shit, sparks are real! Great. All right, Jonas, I cut you off earlier. We were talking about the voice. So Wallace Wells and young Neil. Were there any of the voice actors that you thought really either stood out in a good way or a bad way?
Not really. What I was trying to say earlier was what Andrew said earlier, which is that I felt like young Neil was supposed to be mumbly because he's stupid and airheaded. Like Andrew said, like he's stupid and airheaded, and that's the point. That's why he's so mumbly. He's just kind of in his own world, just there.
Only person in the world who probably woke up to a screenplay written on his computer and assumed that he just wrote it in his sleep.
It's a sleep paralysis demon.
Which we find out is actually older Ramona. That was one hell of a plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead. I didn't get a chance to actually bring this up before. Do we want to talk like episode to episode, character to character, or do we just want to talk themes in general? What would you guys be more comfortable talking about tonight?
I'm just going to say episode to episode because I feel like then I could like give good points about specific things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how my mind like kind of like categorizes it by episode. That works.
All right. Well, we've pretty much talked about the first one and the second one. With the League of the Evil X's and Matthew Patel taking over. And the introduction of the robot. Yeah, that was a great fight.
I love just the going from stage to stage to stage, and just like I love when, especially like in the game it does it too, but obviously in the movie, just the versus screen, we get those side by side. I love whenever they do that because it's just so video gamey. I love seeing like the title cards for each character is like versus such and such person, and like that whole fight sequence, because you're thinking like Matthew Patel is like the lowest ranked on the Evil X's. Like who is he to take on Gideon? Like really? But then you see like he uses his abilities very cleverly. He takes advantage. I mean, he's the only one who has. I mean, that's not true. Lucas Lee has stunt doubles, but he's the only one who has like these extra like mysterious powers, right? We understand how Todd works. We understand how Lucas Lee works, but he's like the one with the mysterious kind of mysticism about him, and using like his the fireballs, right? Like you could see like he was just poorly utilized as a first fight for Scott, both in every incarnation. But having him like go against Gideon's skill set, which is really just a katana, I guess, and just being strong. But like he has the advantage, all the abilities he uses to like the arms coming out of his back, the fire, every single thing, all the tricks he has up his sleeve, and then like how he just corners Gideon and has him like yep, like you promised, like here's the contract, like sign it before you die, kind of thing. Like I was like, what? Like they're completely like flipping, and how the other exes are like, yeah, like we never really liked you either. Like I just thought that was just really interesting because like it's one of the least. It's one of the most, I guess, underdeveloped aspects of the live action movie, but also the graphic novels is like these evil exes are like, yeah, sure, like we'll just, and then they never explain the rules. Like, is the one who beats Scott the one that gets to keep Ramona, or is only Gideon supposed to keep Ramona? Right at the end, like the whole league, like, and so I thought that was cool how they kind of fleshed that out, kind of explain how the rules work, how the exes feel amongst themselves about each other. I thought that was really cool, like fleshing out that we don't get in any of the other like mediums of Scott Pilgrim.
Absolutely. But yeah, I do. It's essentially like the guard scorpions going up to Sephiroth and saying, you know what? I want to be the big bad. It's like, no, that's not the way it works in Final Fantasy VII.
Your Final Fantasy VII, Alexis. That's cool.
Yes, Jonas.
So I thought it was an interesting idea to be like, why is this guy the lowest rank? Like, I feel like it's an interesting idea. The ranks don't really mean anything when it comes to power scaling, because number 1 beat number 7, meaning that it means nothing. For all we know, Todd could be the strongest and Gideon could be the weakest.
Those vegan powers, yeah.
Very true. I mean, I always figured originally it was a timeline thing that Ramona was the youngest when she dated Matt Patel and Gideon was the most recent Evil X. But that is a good point. There is no real lineup on the power line, although admittedly, yes, you do get more coins the more higher up the bosses are, which again corresponds to your typical gaming. The higher the boss, the more XP you're going to get.
Right.
So we have that, and we have our third episode, which starts with young Neil waking up and going, I wrote a screenplay in my sleep, and no one questions this. And we have Ramona going on the hunt to find out what happened. And she gets directed towards Kim Pine, the drummer for Sex Bomb, who we established was already established. She's also one of Scott's exes, and that's also where we get our appearance of Roxy Richter, one of the evil exes.
My favorite. My
Yeah,
favorite
it's like-
evil ex.
Yeah, what
Oh.
was the line from the movie? She is from Ramona's sexy phase.
So you had a sexy face?
And I did love seeing Roxy come back in a little bit larger role because she's voiced by Mae Whitman, who, in addition to being a very good actress, is a really great voice actress. She's got actually more voice acting credits to her name than anyone else here on the list.
Katara, right? She's Katara, right?
Hang on a second.
Yeah, she's Katara in The Last Airbender.
Oh, really?
Hang on a second. Was she Katara? Yeah, she was Katara. Yeah, it's like, I hate to say it, I got the characters mixed up there for a split second. So yeah, I loved seeing her come back. And this also does bring up a little bit of a nice character arc with Ramona, that she gets to get some closure
Mm-hmm.
with her exes. You know, we never really find out with the exception, I think, of Matthew and Todd, where she explains in the movie, you know, why she broke up with them or why they broke up with her. But we never really find out that much. And yeah, there was no established discussion on what happened that ended things between Ramona and Roxy. And I love that we get some closure with that Roxy basically gets the point after. It's like, you kind of ripped my heart out and you don't even realize how bad you made me feel.
She just walked away, right, without even saying anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like she said in the movie, she was bi-curious. And she was bi-furious. No, but you're right. I mean, that was pretty good. I like that whole episode, how they're doing that thing, jumping from movie to movie to movie. Because it's a rental
Video
store.
rental store.
So I like the very gamified kind of thing where like we're just jumping from place to place. A lot of like really cool references to like other movies and stuff. Was there any that stood out to you? Like, I know that I'm trying to remember because I saw it like 2 weeks ago, but I think there's like one is it a reference to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? I think, or they were like on a train somewhere.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't remember. Exactly. Like I said, I do just love the chemistry also that works between Roxy, Ramona, and Kim. I love how all three of them are kind of working together. It's fine. And then that ending moment where Roxy kisses
Kim,
and it's like, okay, no sparks, worth a shot.
I love the joke where she's like, where Ramona's like, Roxy, I want to be friends with benefits.
Yeah, Roxy's and Ramona's like, don't push your luck. I've actually dated someone who had that kind of reaction after we broke up. But it's like, no, we're just friends, and be grateful, okay? So that was a really good episode. And we do have the end with Gideon, or Gordon, as we find his real name, is showing up on Julie's door. She takes him in because she's attracted to ambition.
Wow.
And then we have our next episode, which I love. The title of this episode is literally Whatever.
Whatever. And it's followed by the greatest song of all time. Well, why was that? This is my United States of... Why was that song so good?
United States of Whatever by Liam Lynch. Yes, there is actually something to be said about Liam Lynch. I was pronouncing his name wrong. About the soundtrack for this. We have our opening theme performed by Japanese rock band Nekrai Taki. We have What's a Girl to Do by Christina, Breathless by X, A-Punk by Vampire Weekend, You Wouldn't Like Me by Tegan and Sarah. We even have Ring of Fire by frickin' Johnny Cash. We have Scott Pilgrim by Plumtree, which is the song that actually inspired the writer to name his main character that. Police Truck by the Dead Kennedys, and Techno Syndrome by the Immortals. This is a really good soundtrack to this. Highly recommend it. And yeah, the United States of Whatever, which just perfectly fits the whole scene with Lucas Lee. Just I don't think I've ever seen a character just not give a damn about anything around him. Just whatevs. The fact that he has to be told repeatedly, it's like you're already losing roles and it's like you are so close to just completely getting dropped, and it doesn't hit him. It's like you don't see any panic, any realization of just what is going wrong in his life at all.
Oh, well, it's fine because he's chill. It's chill. If you're chill, you make it through life. That's how it works. I've learned that while killing people.
Duly noted. But there's a difference between being chill and just not being connected to reality. And I like to think Lucas Lee is not connected to reality at all.
I think it's really fitting because and one of my favorite lines from the live action movie is when Wallace tells him like big fan. He's like, why wouldn't you be? Like he's very into him. He's very into himself, and like I like how he does have kind of a character arc later on.
Mm-hmm.
Like his agent's telling him like you're not gonna have any more roles, and he's like he really just doesn't care. He's just like we get some of the exposition where like he like prizes like his first like broken skateboard and stuff like that, but like I love how he's just like there's like paparazzi and he just spins around and just knocks him out, leaves the coins behind. There's like ninja paparazzi that follow him everywhere and he just like deals with them, like he just dispatches them, and it's just like that's just how egotistical he is. Like he can just ignore them, but no, he's gonna just kill them just for the sake of killing them. Like he's just so into it himself. Go ahead.
I think him killing the paparazzi is kind of dark when you think about it, because I'm pretty sure it's revealed that they were children. Like, because I like vaguely remember at the end of the episode, a child comes up to him and then he just smacks him across the face, and then he does a ninja landing, and he also is wearing the colors of one of the ninjas.
I must have missed that.
I'd like to think more that was a paparazzi posing as a child to get a picture, because we all know paparazzi have no souls. Yeah, we do not shed a tear for Lucas Lee taking out an army of ninja paparazzis with a skateboard to the United States of whatever.
That may or may not be children.
All right, what did you guys think about this idea? Like I said, that the movie that's getting made, the movie that Young Neil has supposedly wrote, is the film adaptation of Scott Pilgrim versus the World that we know from Edgar Wright. Oh, and the name of the director, Edgar Wrong.
Yeah. I think it's really meta. I mean, it's very meta, obviously. Yeah. I thought that was cool. Like, again, going back to like, it's not just a straight up like it's not just the same story again, right? I like how it's like, no, this is what the story was originally supposed to. Like, even the characters in the X's are like, what? Like, this is like a story where he actually wins, like where he doesn't die, like, and to them it seems so weird, but like to us it's like, no, like that's like the actual story, right? So I liked how they just did the kind of and then what's his name, I'm trying to remember the guy who directed Star Wars, Ryan. This is how you subvert expectations. Like this is how you do it. So I don't like The Last Jedi that much, but anyways, so I like that was Ryan really Johnson. Cool. Ryan Johnson, thank you. I was like Ryan something, but the whole switching of like what was supposed to be and like how we later find out that it was Ramona going back to kind of again write the timeline, so to speak, or at least bring the proper story into the consciousness of everybody else who's like they're living this alternate timeline now. So I like how what was reality is now like fiction and vice versa. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. And again, we got a really great action scene with Lucas and Ramona. And again, I like that we get a little bit more closure with them. And Lucas essentially points out, it's like, no, I had nothing to do with it. I do love the scene. She's like, I'm here to talk about Scott Pilgrim. I'm Scott Pilgrim. And she's like, okay, it's about to turn into a freaking Abbott and Costello routine. She's like, okay, how do I get through this? And then that goes into our next episode, Lights, Camera, Sparks, which is our faux documentary episode. Sorry, Jonas, did I interrupt you, man?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, I think like the really old bit was called like Who's on First Base.
Well, that's the Abbott and Costello routine. That's Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
Oh, I just kind of I think I watched it once. I just remembered it being just who's on first base. Okay, carry on.
Mark, if you're still listening, you need to make your child watch more classic comedy routines, okay? He needs a little more educating.
He like punches the wall, shoves the phone in my face. Just watch.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, so interesting little point here. The documentarian is played by Nelson Franklin, who played Como, the guy who in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, Komu. Yeah.
Como. It's like, yeah, you know everyone, right? Yeah, so they say.
He's like knows everyone. Yeah, underneath. Yeah. Komu.
Yeah, thought
That's
that was
cool.
Oh, and the documentary narrator. Did anyone else recognize that voice?
I'm trying to remember.
No.
That was Weird Al.
Oh, he shows up in the credits. I forgot who he was. Yeah, he was in the credits. I remember now.
Yeah, I was pulling up some of the voice acting credits. I was just like, Weird Al's in this episode? What the hell? Oh my god, that was so freaking random. You know, you can't help but wonder. It's like, so did Weird Al approach them and say, I want to be in the Scott Pilgrim anime? Or did somebody actually say, you know who'd be a good documentary narrator? Weird Al.
And then the security guards are what's his name? Simon Pegg.
And
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost. Yes, our returning cast members from the Cornetto trilogy that Edgar Wright directed: Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and what was the third one? The End of the World or something?
Sounds right.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting this.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Hang on a second. Come to me.
I was like, is that World's End? Like, no, that's Pirates of the Caribbean.
The World's End. It is the World's End.
Oh.
That's why. Because I was thinking it's not World's End because I was thinking the exact same thing. No, that's
Pirates.
That's the Pirates of the Caribbean movie that we all like to forget existed.
It's not that bad.
Well, compared on Stranger Tides, no argument.
There you go.
All right, but yeah, I do like that he brought them in. Though those two, I love when they show up in Edgar Wright's projects. Just finds little ways to sneak his buddies in. And I really love this episode because I'm a sucker for faux documentaries. Just love all the little things. And oh my god, the fact that they're trying to direct now. Todd is playing Scott in the movie, and Envy Adams is playing Ramona. And every time they say action, those two can't stop freaking making out.
They had to keep doing that. Was it like the constant like let's try? And that's when Wallace Foley steps in. It's like, let's try something different. He just switches it to himself.
And that's how we lose Todd to the gay side.
I was about to say another one to the gay side.
And yeah, Todd's just so heartbroken that he breaks the vegan code and loses his powers. He's just like, fine, if you're not gonna like me, I'm not going to be vegan anymore. I can't remember what he eats. That they find him eating that makes him lose his powers.
It was something with cheese, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was cheese fries, I think.
Poutine. It was freaking convenience. It was poutine. Where's David and Andrew Graham when I need them? Those are our podcast's resident Canadians, as I like to call them. So yeah, they would have remembered it was poutine.
I always want to try that. Never tried it.
I should have tried that when I was in Disney World. And I went to Epcot. They were doing the food and wine festival. So every country that you went to had a different little food pavilion.
That's awesome.
Set up. And one of them was Canada, which I went in. I didn't get poutine. They had a spiked apple cider smoothie. Or not smoothie, but like with crushed ice. And it was so good. So got that. But yeah, so we got that. Envy looks over the footage and confirms that the vegan portal that she sees is not Todd's. I don't know how you can tell one vegan portal from another, but she confirms Todd did not create the portal.
I think she mentioned that it was like had it been made by someone more powerful than Todd. That was like a really
Yeah,
great
I
portal.
think it was because she said. Oh, sorry. I think it was because she said something along the lines of, "That one's way more impressive. That one actually feels like they put some quality into it."
Yeah,
That
way to
sounds
throw your
good.
ex-boyfriend under the bus, honey.
I think also just because he wasn't present, maybe that's probably why she figured it wasn't him. That had to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out. Then Matthew shows up as the studio's new owner, shuts everything down, and reveals to Ramona that Gideon/Gordon is now dating Julie. So that leads us into episode 6. Who done it?
Who did it?
I love that how young Neil gets hung up on that. Like what? Like oh no, who was it? Someone I think it's young Neil, right? He gets
Yeah, it
hung
was
up on
young
the
Neil.
term,
It was
Mhm,
young Neil.
exactly.
and they just go back and forth, trying to explain like why it's called that.
Like I said, as much as I may have been grinding my teeth with Johnny Simmons' performance, I do love young Neil's just adorable level of cluelessness. You know, it's a very different way of playing an idiot character because he doesn't seem like just an idiot. He just seems like, yeah, he's never in reality.
Mhm.
Just like I said, he seems like he is perpetually lost in his games. When they say that the movie is shut down, they say, it's like, well, are you upset your movie got shut down? And he goes, I miss my golf cart because he loved driving around.
They showed him who's on first.
I think it autocorrected to me. I think he was trying to say I have shown him who's on first, because he has done that. He has done that, definitely.
Either way, you really need to watch more classic comedy routines, okay? Ask your dad to show you Marx Brothers' Duck Soup. That was the birth of the classic mirror gag.
So I've been caught up watching more Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt's great. I love Patton Oswalt. He's awesome. But seriously, your dad needs to show you more black and white comedies. More Abbott and Costello, more oh my god, I hate myself for thinking.
Three Stooges? I don't know.
No, not Three Stooges. Like I said, Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello. What was the name of the other black and white comedy? I freaking hate myself for forgetting this. What is wrong with me? What'd you say, hon? No, a comedy duo.
Oh, it's a duo?
Hang on a second. I should know this. What is wrong with me? This is going to haunt me if I don't figure it out.
May you should be more
I'll
educated.
help you out. We'll just Google comedy duo black and white. I'll just do that. How about that?
May you should be more educated in black and white comedy.
Are Abbott and Costello the tall, skinny guy and the short, chunky guy?
No, well, they were, but this other comedy duo was the same.
Key and Peele.
Not Key and Peele, although they're awesome as well.
I just think of classic comedy duos. Ollie, Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm
Laurel and
thinking
Hardy,
of. That's what I'm
Laurel and
thinking
Hardy,
of.
yes.
The
Oh
chunky
my
guy and the
God.
skinny guy. That's what
Yeah,
I'm thinking
see,
of.
that's what was throwing. Because like Chunky Guy and Skinny Guy was Abbott and Costello, but it was also Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I cannot. I am seriously embarrassed by myself. I didn't remember Laurel and Hardy. Oh my god.
That's why we have Google, Alexis. That's why we have
Yeah.
Google.
Oh god, how could I have forgotten those two? All right, so we have our Who Did It, which starts with my favorite part of the episode with Lucas Lee coming and thinking he's going to get to live with Gordon. And Julie shows up and says, I was gone for 90 minutes. And they freaking not only trashed her house, they built a skateboard ramp in her living room with a hole in the ceiling.
They went to the store, had time to come back, built it, and still like wrote it and everything. And I was like, that's very impressive, actually. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, do all that in 90 minutes. That is a level of talent. And yeah, we get the verses like Julie Powers versus Lucas Lee and Gordon Goose, because she is so well. Wouldn't you be pissed? Come back after 90 minutes to find out someone built a freaking skate park in your living room?
I like how we were about to have a fight, and then I think is it Ramona, right, who steps in to like,
yeah, and I was like, not important, don't kill them. And Lucas is like, does this mean I can't live here? And Julie's like, live here? Why would you think I was going to let you live here? Julie's adorable when she gets that pissed. So this is where we also get a few more answers about who's been creating the portals, and I love the idea. It's like, so what's more powerful than a human vegan? A
Two
robot
human
vegan.
vegans.
I like how each episode we have the little. They always think it's a trash can or a mailbox. The little robot. He's like always in the background, just doing something. I first noticed it during the Matthew Patel fight. I was like, "There's like you can see it in the crowd." I'm like, "What the like? Why is there a non-human person in the crowd?" And of course, we get the answer later on. But I like the little robot hiding.
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
Wait. But why are you so racist towards robots?
Who's racist towards robots?
Him. What's wrong with robot? Just watching a show. Why are you such a robot racist?
Oh, are you saying?
Are you calling Andrew a robot racist?
Yes.
Oh, because I said, "What's the robot doing in the crowd?" I see. I get you. No, I just because it just seems really random. Because I'm like, when did that become a part of like not the canon, I guess, but the show? It was just random until they explained it. Those are the twins. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that they find little ways to hide him. That scene when young Neil's riding around in the golf cart and he hits them, and what he was like, "Hey, who left a trash can out here?"
That's when fast trash can.
But again,
he does say it. Yeah.
That was a fast trash can. Yeah. But again, I just love the idea. It's like this robot doesn't eat, so of course he's vegan because he's never
by default.
It's like, well, I guess technically that makes him vegan.
The logic's very weird because I'm like, you could just apply that to like a squirrel or any herbivore, pretty much.
You can apply that to anything. My phone is vegan because
I thought they were it was gonna be like an alien or something, but like when they finally got to the robot thing, I was like, okay, like that's what we've been building up to is that robot. I was like, okay, all right. I guess.
I just assumed that vegans didn't eat.
There was an article that came out like I think a year ago that pointed out that when plants are cut from the earth, they actually do kind of feel we would consider pain.
Oh yeah. Like they send out some kind of like wave or signal or something like that. Yeah.
That's actually when you smell fresh cut grass, that smell is grass essentially sending an SOS, we're being cut. And I remember looking at that article thinking, vegans are going to have to find a way to, survive on rocks and water. It's like, just wait till the vegans find out that they need to feel pity for the plants.
There's no ethical consumption.
There is no ethical consumption. That's why I'm not giving up my cheeseburgers. So they figure out that the only logical choice is that the robot was sent by the twins, who are the only ones that she hasn't interviewed, by the way. So again, process of elimination, it has to be them. Mm-hmm. And she's about to go out with the others and confront the twins. And guess who shows up on her door out of the blue? Scott Pilgrim. He's alive and he has got one hell of a story.
So it's about to lead to time travel. I don't know if you've seen the TikTok that I did, but I hate time travel. It makes no sense to me. I have a weird hatred of it.
So box is yours, Jonas. Go tell us why you hate time travel.
Okay, so it's so easy to create paradox. If I go back in time to do literally anything, it's going to cause me not to want to go back in time because I did literally anything. Now I have no motivation to go back in time, except for I've never went back in time. Now I have the motivation again. It's always an endless cycle of trying and having a want to do something, doing that thing, except for no longer having that want, except for then I would have to do that thing. It's an endless cycle. And that's why I hate it so much, because all I'm thinking is, shouldn't this new Scott not be here anymore or something? Because it always gets so confusing. And also, what is his plan? To kill Scott? If he killed that Scott, then he's also dead. Isn't that how time travel works?
I don't think I don't think the idea was to kill Scott. It was to is taking him out of the timeline so he can't date Ramona, so that never happens. Because I mean, I get what you're saying, Jonas. Because I agree with you. I do. I think time travel in just about any media feels like very lazy writing, unless it's done like very cleverly. And usually it's not really. But yeah, I don't think future Scott or future or even further older Scott were trying to kill Scott. They were trying to just get him out of the way. Well, I think older Scott was trying to, or for some reason, but the first older Scott was just trying to get him out of the way to just close that loop so it never happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a joke about time travel in fiction on the grounds of there are no rules, but it just essentially comes down to whatever the creator.
There's a whole bit on that in Endgame, or you guys remember? Where
Exactly. Where they're comparing Back to the Future and all those other,
Ant-Man's like, wait, so like Back to the Future is full of shit or something? I said something along those lines.
Yes. Because they're like, can't we just go back in time, find baby Thanos, and I was like, first of all, that's dark. But yeah, time travel exists in whatever rules the creator wants it to work. If they want to create paradox-free time travel, they can create paradox-free time travel. The first Futurama movie, Bender's Big Score, did a huge thing on the idea of removing paradoxes. And it is funny as hell, and also a major plot point in the movie. But that does lead, I think, to an interesting plot point. Again, we have older Scott and much older Scott. And older Scott said, first of all, voiced by Will Forte, who is freaking hilarious, says that he just brought young Scott in. He said, I'll let you go when you promise me you will not go after Ramona. Okay. And apparently Scott's just too enamored with her to agree to this, especially after he looks through the virtual boy. They found a way to use a virtual. Okay, Jonas.
The little Stan. He's just like,
you are too young to know this.
I know what a
virtual boy is.
Yeah, I know how it works. You look into the screen. You play with the controller. I understand how virtual boy works.
That's okay, cool. But you don't know what a colossal disaster that thing was.
I do know.
No, you know, because you weren't alive when that thing came out.
I can still gain knowledge. I know a lot about Nintendo. I know a lot. I know how much of a flop the Game Boy was. The virtual boy was. Yeah, I know why people hate it. There was barely anything. It looked like a fever dream, and the games weren't fun.
There was that, and the fact that you had to press your head into it.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, so basically it's like it would have been like right here. So I'd have been doing like this while playing game. Nobody wants to play a game for an hour like this. No one wants to do that. Wasn't there also like a pressure thing you had to push in to activate it? I'm trying to remember if there was. Because I remember there was something you really had to lean in to make it work.
That part I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, yeah, that was, oh my God, that was a bigger flop than the freaking Power Glove.
There's a whole movie just made to advertise that thing.
That and Mario 3.
That's true. Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, that's why I can't hate it. Mario Brothers 3 is still, in my opinion, the de facto greatest video game ever made.
Well, it's the best Mario Brothers game, at least.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you that.
Actually, it's at least a Super Mario Wonder. I beg to differ.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, you never had you never had to go through the days of the Super Nintendo and blowing into the cartridges to make it play and being unable to pause the game and walk away for more than an hour because your TV would be on that whole time, and then your parents would yell at you about burning the damn thing out and it being hard on the game. You have no idea what we went through. Andrew, did you have a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega? What did you have?
Super Nintendo was my first console when I was 7 years old. Yeah,
mine too. I had that, and I had a Game Boy.
Is this like the nerd version of boomers telling Gen Z about wars? Is this like the nerd version of that?
Sort of, except we didn't have to walk in the snow both
Uphill,
ways. Yeah, uphill both
barefoot.
ways. No, it wasn't that bad. Although sometimes when I do tell people, I remember telling one of my cousins about like how we used to have handhelds that weren't backlit and how annoying that was trying to get like your parents driving in the car and like every street light you would try to do.
Just like eat. Yeah. Oh god.
And that seemed like the worst thing to one of my cousins. And that was the thing we did. So
yeah, because you couldn't have the light on in the car because then your dad couldn't see out the rear view mirrors. Oh my god. Yeah, Jonas.
It's okay, Jonas. One day you'll be telling future kids the same thing about the Switch and something like that.
One day I'll be telling them about the horrifying process of taking out the cartridge and putting it back in, and taking out the cartridge because the thing won't register.
You'll tell them the horrors of Joy-Con drift. You'll tell them that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
because we had cartridges and they were like yay big. We couldn't keep all of our games in a little container the size of our phones. Okay, we had huge boxes of all of our cartridges in there, and this was the same for the Nintendo cartridge and the Super Nintendo cartridge. These things were huge, and again, if it didn't work, Andrew, what was the number one thing we all did? Blew into it.
Sometimes you had to smack, you had to do like the Fonz, give like a nice smack too. Sometimes,
yeah, like a pack of cigarettes, like that. Yeah. Even though we found out years later that Nintendo was like, who told them to blow into it? We never told them to blow into it. You weren't supposed to blow.
Yeah, actually, it's bad. You're throwing moisture in there and like kind of run.
Yeah, and we're also there. It's like, who told us to blow into it in the first place?
It seemed to work. It seemed to work.
So you said like controller drift, and I started to get PTSD to trying to aim a sniper rifle in Splatoon.
You never had to worry about aiming the power blaster in Nintendo. Or, oh my god, remember what was it? The power cannon? That it was like
the super scope thing?
The super scope, that's what it was called. Okay. Yeah. The only cool thing about that was that commercial where they had the whole army of kids, you know, working with it like it was a freaking gun and they were Marines at a drill competition or something. Because, yeah, again, it's like, talk about useless. Yeah, Jonas, Nintendo in the early 90s excelled at the useless accessories. They were coming out with games as fast as they could, but that wasn't enough. They wanted to find a million ways to make us play the games even more. The Power Glove, the Virtual Boy, the Super Scope, the Power Blaster. Just, oh my god, the crazy amount of accessories that you had to buy for all your games.
Alexis, did you get the what's it called? The Superboy, which was an adapter to play Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo?
Yes, I had that.
I think it was cool.
That I did like because we took that and the Super Nintendo with us on a week-long vacation in New Mexico. So after we were done hiking and shopping and everything, we'd hang out at the little house that we rented, and my mom and I would play Tetris all night long.
Good times.
Very good times. I loved how you could mix the colors up on that. Since this was, again, pre-Game Boy. Yeah, Jonas, this was pre-Game Boy Color. This was when it was still a gray brick and there was no color on the screen.
It was just green. This nasty
pixels.
Green. Yeah. Kind of like the green that's going right here. That's going underneath. Yeah, kind of like that.
But even uglier.
Like the neon vomit green.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Spinach green, I call it. Yep.
Ugh.
Anyways,
congratulations, Mark. I got your TikTok codes ready to go. We're putting this up. This will be our discussion. Jonas learns the early horror of Nintendo. It's like, seriously, you want to talk to me about Super Mario Wonder being better than Super Mario 3 or even Super Mario World on the SNES, which was my de facto game growing up? We're going to talk, kid.
I love Super Mario World.
And for the record, I'm a millennial, so don't call me boomer.
Well, I wasn't calling you a boomer.
He said it was like
boomers.
Yeah,
I was just making sure. It's like, you want to make fun of me for being a millennial? Fine. I was born in 1984. I am a millennial by definition.
The joke I was trying to make is that there's like that stereotype about boomers telling young people about war, and you were telling me the horrors of gaming, of early gaming. So that was the joke I was trying to make.
But yeah, no, you got to remember. First, did you ever have a TV that was like the big, thick box TV? I don't remember. Forgive me, I don't know if you ever had it, or if flat TVs came out when you were a kid. I don't remember.
My cousin had like that massive TV that's like 5 feet tall, and it's like it wasn't even flat. It was like a big old box behind the back, and it was like, whoa, like that's such a cool TV. I remember.
Yeah, it's always been flat screen TVs for me. The only thing I know about like the box TVs was from that one comedy bit. Dad, please correct me. It's the one about the dude who pretended to be like a different race. And he kept mumbling on. Father, if you're listening, please tell me what I'm talking about.
I'll check the comments. But yeah, you see like that broken TV behind you on the green screen?
Yeah, I know. I was trying to finish what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him saying like, embrace the comedy, hug the back of the TV, and then getting explained that you die if you do that.
No idea. But yeah, so we would hook up our Nintendo or Super Nintendo to a TV, much like the one you've got behind you on the green screen.
The CRT, yep.
Which weighed like 50 pounds. Crazy huge. Was always in that stupid wood frame for some reason.
Yep. Like an Oldsmobile or something like
exactly.
a station wagon.
Yes.
Yeah.
and if you wanted to pause the game, you could not pause that thing for like more than 10 minutes, if that, because your Nintendo and your TV are going to overheat badly, and then your parents are going to yell at you. And I think even like on some of the older models, they complained that if you left it on for too long, paused, the image would burn into the screen.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like we would have killed for the ability that we have with the Switch now, where we can pause the game and literally just let the system go into sleep mode and turn off the TV and walk away.
You just push the home button and you're like, whoop, main menu.
It's like, okay, I'll finish this game later.
Yeah.
We don't have that option. Okay, I think we've gone off on enough tangents here.
Yeah, let's bring you home.
Okay, so I do want to talk about older Scott and older Scott's motivation here, because we find out that the original story arc that was going to happen if older Scott hadn't pulled young Scott out was going to be identical to the movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, which is the name of the original graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, was supposed to happen. And then Scott and Ramona were going to get married, and unfortunately they got divorced. And older Scott is such a wreck that he has pulled young Scott, saying, I'm not sending you back until you promise me that you will not, go after Ramona.
Now that we know what would have happened in an alternate timeline, it kind of makes the movie depressing, because now we know what happens after this. Like, sure, they get married, except then they get divorced, and then later they hate each other. Like, now we know what actually happens after they roll credits.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not sure if it really ruins the movie, because like it still ends on I know what you're saying. It's how I feel about Star Wars, where like, you mean they destroyed the Empire and all that, and there's still like the First Order around. Like it doesn't it's like it kind of sours like what you thought in your head was the ending a little bit. But I don't think so, because I think it's a very good reflection on like what this show does is kind of shows you a realistic depiction of how love is. Like it's not like you just get together and then happy ever after. It's like, no, it's constant work afterward. Like it doesn't just stay that way. Like there's going to be issues, and sometimes things don't always work out in the end. But that doesn't like negate all the good stuff that happened, I think.
Exactly. And Ramona does mention later, she's like, I did still have feelings for you, and we could have worked it out if you had tried, but he didn't. And that is something to be said, that, as you said, Andrew, their relationships like that take a lot of work. And no, they don't always work out in the end. But there's still a lot of good to be had. I'm sure, Andrew, you and I both have some exes that it's like, yeah, the breakup was ugliest sin, and we probably don't talk to them anymore,
Mhm.
but we still have some memories from those relationships. Like, yeah, the memories are still good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, what I had a question formed here, and then I got totally sidetracked. What would you say if an older version of you appeared and said that something that you were passionate about was going to end in heartbreak? Just apparently gut-wrenching, on the floor, crying, your world has come to an end, heartbreak.
I
Go
would
ahead, Jonas.
I would take his word for it, because like it's me. This is the thoughts that I will be having in the future. I should probably avoid this before I have these thoughts. Like if I trust future me that this is a bad decision, so I'm going to do what he says and not, go through with it. Because if it ruins my life, I don't want it.
Well, there is that, but again, as we were saying, there's still some good to be left. Would it be better? Okay, would it be better to completely erase something from your life that brings you a lot of good, a lot of bad, but also a lot of good? Is it worth it to erase all of that, the good and the bad?
I think I would try. I think I would try to do have my cake and eat it too, where I would try to learn what went wrong so I could fix it without necessarily sacrificing what I have at that moment. I mean, if it was future me giving me financial advice, then sure, I would follow it completely, right? But if it was like avoid this relationship because it ends in heartache, I'm like, wait, why though? Why? Like, how can I avoid that? How can I have it and not have it turn out that way?
Okay, never mind. Sorry. Never mind. I'm switching to his answer.
Because I think that's kind of what Scott ends up doing, or he tries to do, right? Like, is when he's still like he decides to still stay with Ramona anyways, right? And we kind of get that too when future Ramona comes up to the kitchen, comes to the house, and like tells them, yeah, like things are like it's rough, like it doesn't work out, but like it's not like you can't fix it though, like knowing what happens. Like it's still worth having, it's still worth going through the motions.
Yeah, and I still love the end when older Scott's like, so we can get back together, and she's like, you've been locked in a room for 10 years plotting revenge. It's like, I think we're beyond reconciliation at this point. But again, I think about a lot, not just in relationships, but I think about a lot of things that we love and we throw so much passion into, careers and hobbies, activities. And yeah, they don't always end well. There's a lot of times where things just kind of blow up in our face. But we are better people for going through that. It's the most cliche line in the world, but better to have loved and lost than never to have loved and all. We gain experiences. And we gain experiences not just from the joy, but from the pain as well.
The bad was referring to as wrong was reality, what a concept he was doing.
Yeah, that is what I'm referring to. Back when I was talking about the dude. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
All right, I gotcha. I actually just got a text from Mark saying, will you put my comment on the screen? I'm like, okay, I'm going to it.
That's what we call an executive decision right there.
Pretty much. But yeah, I just can't imagine something in your life hurting you that much that the younger you or the older you would go to the younger you and say, avoid it. I mean, you're right. We're not talking financial decisions or anything. I mean, if my older self came back, it's like invest your portfolio in this, or go. Don't apply for this convention. Apply for that convention instead. Wish you'd done that for the Indiana Comic-Con, older me. But I can't imagine an older me coming in saying, like, I don't know, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, my company, is a mistake, or your marriage is a mistake. It's like, no, it's not. And if it's a mistake that I am going to go through with, and I am going to be a better person growing from it.
And we kind of see that too with Ramona, where future Ramona, jumping a little bit ahead, where future Ramona talks to young Ramona and talks about like, no, like you do run away from everything you love, right? And like she kind of has that realization that she does that she runs away from things, but she says like, you know, like I want to tell you like right now, because like past Ramona's not going to remember this, but she says tell Scott like I love you, and like that's something that she has never like really said in any of the other media interpretations of Scott Pilgrim. So like I'm glad she does kind of grow a little bit and realize that she does run from things, and so it seems like she has the realization that she's going to just like finally like stick this one thing out.
Exactly. And again, we do get a really great closure with her and the other relationships, even with the Katyanagi twins. You know, we find out that they didn't realize they were dating her at the same time. I never really thought that we got an idea of how that she was dating twins at the same time. And she basically reveals to them, oh, I'm dating your brother. And she lets them fight.
For some reason, from the live action movie, I thought they were all in on it. I
Yeah,
thought it was like they were cool.
thing.
Yeah, like they were cool with it. That's what it seemed like. Because like she's like, wait, she dated them both at the same time.
And the fact that they were both going, the fact that they're both in the evil X's and they're both fighting together against sex bombs. Like, yeah, you kind of get the idea that they both were happy date. I always kind of took it like a two twins, one brain, hive mind kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was my opinion.
I like how they're the ones too that kind of are cool with Scott at the end. Like they just start a band with him like afterwards. I like how they're like, oh yeah, like it was like the least personal for them. Like I thought that was cool.
And then in the end, when they're trying to figure out who's basically put a freaking firewall on Scott's kisses, they're like, oh no, the robot told us we're all cool in the future. We got nothing against you. Cool, man. I love that. They're just so casual about it. Like, yeah, the robot says we're all friends. That's great. So yeah, we have our ending with older Scott trying to take them all out, and future Ramona shows up and she's like, okay, enough with this. And young Ramona says, I'm tired of running. But she goes in an interesting way, because I thought she was going to say I choose Scott, but she says I choose me. Mm-hmm. And she hugs her older self, and yeah, it's like, it's just like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I have not played in millennia, and I honestly forgot the reference. But I guess
it's just golden and floating.
Oh yeah, it's the Supersonic / Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's a video of Shadow the Hedgehog fighting Vegeta, and when Shadow goes supersonic with the Chaos Emeralds, Vegeta looks and goes, "Wow, what a ripoff!"
I also like there's a Metal Gear Solid reference where because they can't kiss, right? The anti-kiss, the AK Werefields. He's like, oh yeah, I put nano machines in like in Scott's like little drink, and I'm like, Metal Gear, like I like that.
I feel like nano machines are some of the most basic things that can be said anywhere. Like I swear to God, I've heard like nano machines in every single form of pop culture ever. Like it's all like, oh well, because nano machines. Why can I blow up houses?
It's a bit of a meme, yeah.
Yeah, it's very much a very common MacGuffin. Very easy to use because they're nanoscopic. So you don't have to see them. You don't have to explain where you got them. You just know they're small, so you can get them to do whatever you want, and they don't have to be seen on screen.
Yeah.
Well, why can't I blow up houses? Nano machines. Why am I kidnapping this child? Nano machines. Why am I burying this body not under an ocean? I didn't do that. Nano machines. It's all nano machines.
Jonas, you don't have to tell us where you buried the bodies, okay? I'm not going to grill you about that.
Okay.
But yeah, so she sends older Scott back to I just love how anticlimactic it is. It's like, okay, you're back. He just zaps him back to that house, and he's like, damn it. And she fixes everything, except for what happened with freaking Gordon and Julie, because he was going to freaking blow up the stage.
They get caught.
Yeah, he gets caught by Matthew Patel's demon hipster chicks. And in the end, even Matthew's like, you know what? I freaking hate being a CEO. Leave me the theater. Let me, continue my play, and you can have the company back. Which actually makes sense. Again, CEO of my own company, and I am a one-person operation. It's like, I don't even want to think about trying to run something bigger than this. I am content with where I am.
You pulled the Bob Iger.
This is little
Topical.
gag. This little gag while that happened that I really liked. Where like they're all laughing like, "Yay, I have my business back," and then shift to an evil laugh because I feel like that was a really great joke. Because it kind of reminds you that these characters are evil characters. These are not good people. These
You're
characters,
talking about like the shadows, right? When the shadows get big.
yeah. When the shadows appear, like it reminds you, these characters are not good guys. These are the villains. We should not be rooting for them. They're evil. Remember that. Like I feel like that was a really great joke.
Now, it is interesting because we do have a cliffhanger at the end of the last episode setting up for season 2, but we have an interview here with Rolling Stone from Bryan Lee O'Malley saying that the series' future, there are no current plans for a second season, stating, quote, "I never say never, but right now it seems it would take about 50 million miracles simultaneously for another season to happen. So we'll see." So even though we had a cliffhanger, which was a good cliffhanger, admittedly, doesn't look like we're probably going to get a second season. Doesn't look like they're really that interested in continuing on the story. But you know what? I'm fine with it. I like even though we had the cliffhanger, I like where they left the rest of the characters. I freaking love you have Roxy retraining Todd to take his vegan powers. You have Matthew with his theater. Ramona is still a stunt actress for them.
I like Ramona becoming a stunt double. I feel like that was pretty good.
Love that Knives has joined the band. Yeah, Knives is a character who really actually got a lot of her character arc sort of cut from the movies and the comics. And she still gets a little bit of an arc, but not much of one.
She felt like she got pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like she had a character arc, but it wasn't shown. Like she obviously grew as a character and got over Scott. Except for we didn't really see that progression. It was just like, yeah, she kind of went through this while you were gone. Anyways, we're cool.
Well, even with 8 episodes, it's still a very large ensemble, and it's pretty typical that 1 or 2 characters are probably going to have to get pushed to the back.
I got to dip out a little ahead. I got to take care of something, so I want to bounce. All right.
Yeah, sorry, I just saw your comment. All right. Andrew, before you go, do you want to tell us where we can find you real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a writer for Geek News Now. I'm starting to lose my voice right now. I'm a writer for Geek News Now. I write mostly about video games and Star Wars. So you can find my writings over there on geeknewsnow.net. I also have my own video game podcast called DuoSense, DuoSense podcast. And we just talk about video games every week, video game news, what we've been playing and stuff. So that's where I'm at. But I want to have to bounce because I can't speak anymore.
I understand. I hope you feel better. Thank you for coming on.
All right, it was nice meeting you, Jonas. Had a good time talking to you, man. Take care.
I'll catch you later, man.
Bye.
And also, if you want to know his actual location, his address is just kidding.
We don't announce that. All right, but you know what? I think we have covered enough. We've been talking for almost an hour and a half. I think we could go ahead and wrap things up there. Jonas, is there anything before we move into plugs that we forgot to talk about, or is there any final words you want to say about the series?
This isn't words about the series, but it is a pun. I feel like we should end this off with a pun. Why does Santa?
Were you Zachary Strobel?
Why does Santa have so many ho-ho-hos?
Why?
Because he has such a big sack.
So, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. 8 episodes, all available on Netflix. If you're a fan of the graphic novel or the video game or the 2010 movie, you are definitely going to enjoy this. It's fun. Everyone does a really good job. The animation is really cool. If you are just an anime fan, John, I think you're going to genuinely enjoy this. We highly recommend checking it out. All right, Jonas, you are on TikTok. You want to tell us a little bit more about your TikTok channel?
I don't do things on my own TikTok. My own TikTok is just because I enjoy watching TikToks. Surprisingly, it got hacked once, so there's some random kid smoking on it for some reason.
Lovely.
No idea how it got there. Anyways, just on my dad's TikTok. If you see my face, if you see this beautiful or ugly face, I don't know. If you see it, just know that I'm probably going to say something funny. I do a lot of stand-up. Should I get my dad to get the name to TikTok? Should I do that?
If you want to, you're like, so we got your TikTok address right now below you, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, don't go to that. There's nothing there.
All right. Well, yes, Jonas, we have been seeing some of your stand-up, some of your rant videos on Mark Radulich's TikTok and Instagram. Man's determined to make you a star.
Yes.
All right. So I'll go ahead and ask. Obviously, you were very adamant about joining the Scott Pilgrim discussion. Are there any movies or shows coming out in the near foreseeable future that you want to jump back in on?
Let's see. There's nothing much that I remember that's coming out that I'm just like, oh, this sounds great. I want to be on podcast with it. Like I don't see anything really coming up that I'm like, ooh, yay. Actually, I think I will be on a TikTok. And I think I will be on a podcast during New Year's for, that movie that everybody sees on New Year's, Meth Shark.
Yeah, that's the movie.
I think I will be doing a podcast
on Shark.
Yeah, I know.
This is what happens when your dad lets you watch Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, great movie. Everyone should watch that movie.
All right. So other than that, it looks like this is actually my last TV party tonight for the year. I will be coming on next week to discuss Wonka on Damn You Hollywood. I will also be coming back the day after Christmas to talk Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, otherwise known as how the hell is Warner Brothers going to recoup the amount of money they put into that movie, Other than that, just got confirmed to be jumping in January on Damn You Hollywood to discuss Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, otherwise known as Zack Snyder tells Disney, fine, I'll go make my own Star Wars franchise with blackjack and hookers. I am never going to forget that joke. And of course, we will be discussing on TV Part tonight after the new year, Has Been Hotel. They just dropped the first trailer. Well, not the first trailer, but a new trailer for it. So excited to be talking about that. Other than that, as for the plugs that actually pay my bills, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We wrapped up our first holiday sale, but a reminder that every item that is ordered from either our shop here on Etsy or our shop on Handmade at Amazon, for every individual order that is placed, we will be donating $5 to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We are currently sitting well over $200 for donations. So if you know someone who is interested in geeky handmade accessories, come check us out. You can find us again. We have shops on Etsy and Handmade at Amazon, and you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I am not calling it X, and TikTok.
Wait, you have to keep it up for the next 12 hours. They must bathe in the greatness of your stuff that you do.
That'd be nice, but I think your father would kill me if we left this up for 12 hours.
It'll be fine.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And Jonas, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's fun to have you on as an official guest. Yeah. So for myself, for young Mr. Radulich, be well, behave, be safe.
I will do that.